So,
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Mystic Sense series episode on empowerment. Today with us is spiritual Magus Tenerife from Mystic Sense.
hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about you.
I'd love to. I'll be brief this time. My name's Richard. I'm originally from a place below London called Kent. I am a clairvoyant medium based in a place called Tenerife, which is a big volcano just off the coast of Africa. It's a Spanish colony. I've been psychic my whole life, although most of my life been fighting it, like a lot of you out there, and a lot of people had to. I was kind of trapped in the matrix, as they call it these days, trying to live a normal life, trying to live a normal job, and then very luckily or unluckily, in 2020 during COVID, I had a spiritual experience where basically I was told that that was not the path for me, and I found in my hand a pack of tarot cards completely by coincidence. And I'd always been tarot reading since I was a kid. I come from a gypsy family of witches and gypsies. And I just started reading. And from then on now, fast forward to what I do now, I work for Mystic Sense pretty much full time. I have varying clients of varying age, race, sexualities, religions, creeds and colors, and all walks of life. They come to me for spiritual advice and answers that they seek and questions that they have. I thoroughly love my job. I get to be passionate about what I do for a living. And most important of all, I get paid to help people, which I think is just top drawer. Love working for the site because they allow me to embrace my own spiritual journey. They allow me to embrace and develop my skills, and they give me access to clients that want varying different needs. And for that, I am eternally grateful. That's me.
Thank you so much for that
Bit
introduction.
shorter than last time.
Thank you. So let's dive right into the topic of empowerment.
Boom.
How do beliefs shape our reality, and how can listeners replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones?
We have to go back to programming. Programming is something that is just part of society in 2024. When you were young, and whether you're out there and you're 16 or 60 or 600, you were programmed from the age of about 5 till the age of about 16 to believe that you have to live life in a certain way. You have to get married. You have to find a good job. You have to fit in with society. You have to dress in a certain way. And some of you even out there were perhaps programmed in your beliefs. You were programmed to believe in one particular lifestyle, in one particular religion, in one particular way of being. And this belief was a form of brainwashing. And I want to make one thing very clear. They didn't do it deliberately. They were just following convention. They did it because it happened to them, and the people before did it because it happened to them. But what you're now presented with is options. As we mature and we get older, we have options. Some of us out there are critical thinkers, and some of us out there are not. Those of us that are critical thinkers look around us and ask questions. The world itself is a confusing place. There's a lot of darkness and there's a lot of good. Now, your limiting beliefs are that little voice inside your head that tells you you have to do this, you have to do that. It's going to go wrong. If you go against the cuff, everything's going to go wrong. If you don't have this job, this car, this watch, this body, this lifestyle, this car, this house, if you're not a millionaire by the time you're 35, you're a failure. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, MySpace, even back in the day, was up to it. Gosh, that's going back a long way. It's not true. It's a fabrication. It's a lie. You shouldn't believe everything that you read on the little box in front of you. You can if you want, and it will give you a very easy life. But if you want to have a bit more of an appetite for life, let's say, and taste the fruit a little bit more, taste the biscuit, as they say, you have the opportunity to take these limiting beliefs and take the good from the bad, and then separate what you need and what you don't. For example, I'm from a gypsy family. I am brought up to believe that I have to basically kidnap a girl from another tribe in a barrel. This is true. I'm not making this up. And bring her to the camp and introduce her to my family. And then her family has to come down to my camp and then pay for us to get married and for everyone to have food and drinks for 3 weeks. Now, if I was to go out and do that now, I would get arrested because it's illegal. But hundreds of years ago, this was our practice, limiting beliefs. When I went to school, I was taught the teachings of the church. From those teachings, I took out myself personally the bits about being decent to other people. He without sin, she without sin, cast the first stone. Be good to others, be charitable, help people, don't judge. I chose not to listen to the bit about this person's going to hell and this person isn't. If you don't accept this and believe in this, you're going to hell. I chose not to believe in that stuff, and I never did it as a kid, and I never did as an adult either. And that's what it's all about, limiting beliefs. There is no ulterior Illuminati style secret media trying to brainwash us. It's all just happened naturally. It's all just happened by convention. It's all about giving the public what they want. We live in a world run by greed. We live in a world where capitalism reigns, and that's okay because you don't have to be a part of that. You were not born or put upon this earth to be judged, criticized, or told what to do. Human beings, whether we believe it or not, are part of nature, and nature does not have all of this. So what we do is we take the choice. Do we accept the programming and live our lives as we are expected to live them? Or do we choose to go with what's in our hearts and live in a way that makes us happy and free? Me personally, I've chosen the second option. And one thing I preach towards others is the same thing too. And every client that comes to me, I like to remind them that there is a little voice on your shoulder. Now, this voice could be the voice of a teacher, a parent, a lover, a bully, your coach at school from the sports, a boss, a manager. And this voice in your head tells you you're not good enough. You're not well enough. You're not great enough. It's all going to go wrong. You don't deserve love. You don't deserve decency. You don't deserve to have a happy life. You don't deserve to be free. You can choose to listen to this voice if you want. But there's also another voice, and that one comes from here, right through the heart chakra. This is the voice of the universe, I believe. You don't have to believe this yourself. This voice says this: you are amazing. You are unique. You are high value. You are part of this world. You are part of nature. You get back what you send out. If you send out poison, you get it back times 10. But if you send out love, you'll get that back times 10. If you are good to others and do your best, and I'm not saying you've got to go and set up multi-million charities, go and help in all the other world. If you do that, that's fantastic. It's great. I'm happy for you, and I'll support you in any way I can. But the simple act of perhaps seeing somebody on the street, a homeless person, and buying them a sandwich and a cup of coffee, and just doing it from the goodness of your heart and not telling anybody, not putting a picture and put it on Facebook like some people feel they have to do, which just embarrasses the person who's having to accept the charity and makes the person who's doing the charity look a bit of a douchebag. You can do good in the world. Be the rightness that you want to see in the world. And if you want to see the world become a better place, it starts from step one. And step one is be as good as you can be. Do your absolute best. Try to escape that voice that's on your shoulder, that's in your mind, and be free and enjoy your life. Enjoy what you have, enjoy what you've got, and want more. That's okay. Learn to ignore that little voice in your shoulder. It served its purpose. At one point, maybe it was needed. I certainly had it. I had that voice on my head, and I wasn't listening to it when I was making an absolute fool of myself. And I think that's question 2. So I'll talk about that in the next bit. But I'll talk about my own experience next. But I think, is that an all right answer to your question?
Yes. I think that covers the first points. Thank you for sharing that. So, what steps can individuals take to identify and change limiting beliefs?
What steps can you take? Critical thinking. When you go on your phone or someone says something to you, let's use the modern relationship as an example. Let's say that your partner is having a bad time at work and their boss is getting on at them and they're in a bad thing. And you both get up in the morning and then you're having your coffee or a chat or a bit of breakfast and they start criticizing you and they start putting you down and they start saying things that aren't very nice to you. And you know in your heart that it's because they're having a bad time at work. Two choices. You can listen to them, or you can react to it. You can have an argument. You can finish the relationship. You can grab your engagement ring and throw it at them and tell them that they're not worth having and you don't want to be with them. You can go out and then you can spread that negativity out when you go to work. You can go and be horrible to 5 more people. And then those 5 more people can go and be horrible to 5 more other people. And then what we've created is this wonderful cataclysm where by that person having one bad morning, you've gone out and managed to upset 1,000 people just with the power of your mind. You could do that. Maybe you have done that. And if you have done that, I don't judge you because you didn't know another way. The other step you can take is this. Understand that sometimes people, especially the insecure, those that don't love themselves properly, which is a lot of people out there, have a feeling that they do not love themselves enough and have the feeling that they have to spread their negativity out. What you can do is return that negativity with love. And you can turn around and let's say hypothetically, they say, oh, hypothetically, oh, you shouldn't wear that today. You look stupid. Well, I'm sorry. I don't think you look stupid. You probably looked in the mirror and thought you looked pretty good, but then they said that. You say this, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you feel the need to put me down today. Well, it's a poem then. I'm sorry that you feel bad. And if there's anything I can do to make your situation better, tell me and I'll do it. Even if you just want to go for a walk in the park after work today. And then you go out and you let it empower you. Strange this. We turn negativity into positive. We turn someone's insult into love. And we let that person, by trying to put us down, and I always say this to my clients, we turn it around. We save our tears for another day, to quote The Great Weekend. And we go out there and we decide, you know what? That person's tried to ruin my day. And they haven't done it deliberately. They've done it because they're having a bad day. So rather than continue the chain, I'm going to go out and I'm going to be really, really nice to everyone I meet today. And if I see Joan in the office, and Joan in the office, she's a bit chunky, but she's trying her best to lose a bit of weight. Do you know what I'm going to say to Joan? Joan, you look bloody lovely today. Orange really suits you. Lost weight. Little tiny act. 2 little words, 3 little words, 4 little words. You lost weight. Have you lost weight? 4 little words. You make Joan's day. Joan then goes on to realize that she's actually making a difference and that somebody's highlighted the fact that she's lost weight. Now, this is probably for the ladies. Men, you should never tell women she's lost weight. She'll turn around to you and say, there was a fat before then. You see a male friend that you know has been going to the gym and trying to get fit, Jim, and you say, Jim, your muscles are getting a bit bigger. I'm getting a bit scared of you. It's friendliness. It's banter. Jim goes off. Jim feels really good about himself. Jim goes off and perhaps he's nice to 5 people. Joan goes off and she's perhaps nice to 5 people. And then those 5 people are off and they go nice to 5 people. And then instead of creating a massive maze of negativity, we've actually created a positive foundry of actual happiness, pleasure, and decency. And all we've done is say a few nice things to a few nice people. And those are the steps you can take. I'm not saying you have to do it exactly that way. But if you can be good to others, me personally, I try and be as polite as I can to everyone. I'm an immigrant in a Spanish country. They take the mickey out of me for being blonde haired and green-eyed, right? And I get it. They call us giris, gringos. So I try and be an extra bit nicer and I speak the language because I've kind of got an example I want to set for the rest of my people. But I try and be as polite as I can because you never know what's going on in someone's head out there, you know. And sometimes people need a little bit of help. Sometimes people need a little big up. And unfortunately, these things here, very useful. They tell us the weather. They can do a timer. They can set an alarm and wake us up in the morning. But they can also be very naughty. These things are getting very, very clever, intelligent, very smart, very sentient. The AIs that run them know. And you can press the buttons on there and you could see something this morning that could potentially ruin your day. That's what they kind of want to do sometimes, it feels like. You might go on Instagram and see all the muscled and tanned, beautiful people and feel inferior to them. You might see someone who's just bought a brand new BMW and a Rolex driving around in it and be a bit jealous. It's trying to kind of spread the negativity. That's why that Charlie Brooker calls it the Black Mirror. But what we can also do with these things, we can spread positivity. We can put a nice post on Facebook about someone we're really proud of. We could put something on Instagram that empowers people. For me, I put a big post on International Women's Day about, and I mentioned all the women in my life. It took me ages to write it, and I'm not saying I'm a saint for doing it. But I wrote down every female in my life that I know, and everyone that identifies as a female in my life that I know, that I'm proud of, and all the wonderful things I'm proud of them for on International Women's Day. And I posted it. And I didn't do it to get people, oh, well done, Richard. I did it because I wanted them to feel good about themselves, because that's good energy, and they deserved it. That post was shared 132 times, and people did the same thing. Little things. It's not about lifting mountains up to change the world. It all starts from the moment you get up in the morning. One other little tip is the handing over of the day. Your personal power and your authenticity. I live an honest life. I'm a former, and I'm going to be very honest now, I don't know if this is relevant to the viewers or not. I am a former drug and alcoholic in a program, and I haven't touched a drop for nearly 3 years. And I never will again, God willing. Every morning I hand my day over to the universe, because I had to realize in the program that I'm in that I am not God. For 38 years, I thought I was the God of everything and I was in control of my entire life. And only recently, and within a certain amount of time, did I realize I'm not. And one of the things that we practice in our program is that we hand over our day to a higher power. Now, that higher power doesn't have to be Buddha, Allah, God. We call it God sometimes because that's a convenient word for what it is. But it's not an angry God that wants to send us to hell for living our lives. It's a God of love. And I find that if you prostrate yourself bare in front of the universe, hand your day over, and realize that you're only really in control of what you have for breakfast, what you wear, how you shower, how you are to people, what you say, and what you do. The rest is completely in the hands of the universe. And if you cannot just, as we say, surrender to win, I have found that implementing that into my own life and implementing it into the life of those that I train and those that I help is another way of self-empowerment. Because you know, everyone's on a different journey. So there are people who are watching this who may have nothing, and there are people who are watching this who may have everything. Some of the people who have nothing may be very wealthy, but they have no love. Some of the people out there may have a lot of love, but not much money. Some people may have love and money, but still be miserable, because that's the human condition. Sometimes when we get it all, it can be very depressing because we don't need anything anymore and don't have any wants, needs, or desires. But, you know, our paths through life are actually a lot shorter than you realize, and you're a long time older than you are young. And whether you're young or old, we must take each moment and each day as a gift. Live in the present, live in the moment, establish ourselves, make the best of ourselves, and do the best that we can do. And if we want something really, really, really badly, and we believe that we need it and deserve it, then we have to manifest it, because the universe will give it to us if we believe it's coming true. And my powerful form of manifestation that I came up with was visualized manifestation. And it's in the development of the original Krishna version of manifestation. And that is, I've envisioned my life as it is when I have the thing that I want. What will I do when I have the thing that I want? Let's say hypothetically, I wanted a relationship with a person. I visualize myself waking up next to them. I visualize myself bringing them a cup of coffee. I visualize taking them to a nice restaurant and going for a walk on the beach. I visualize going on holidays together. I visualize us doing something good together. I visualize us listening to music together and relaxing. I visualize it as if it's already happened. And, well, I don't want to go into too much detail about my personal life, but it's on the way.
That is an interesting point that you make about visualization, because it ties right into our next question.
Fantastic.
Yes, in fact, you already started to answer it. Could you elaborate on how affirmations and visualization can help us in shaping empowering beliefs?
I will start with a statement of something I believe, that I believe. Now, you don't have to believe this, but this is what I believe. I believe that you write your own future. I believe that actually we are in more control of our futures than we realize, because the world, the future, changes in accordance not just to how we act, but most important of all, how we react to things around us. People, places, and things will always come against us in life. Now, we have a choice of reaction. Negative energy may come to us, attacks may come to us, bills we can't pay may come to us, pain, angry bosses, angry girlfriends, angry wives, angry boyfriends, angry dogs can all come towards us. How we act and react to that situation is the pivotal point of how we write our futures. My belief is always react with calmness to anything, to always think before action and then do. I say regular daily affirmations myself. I visualize my future as I wish it to be so. I say prayers. I hand my day over. I ask for the best chance to help people. I like working for the site, but it isn't just about me. I like the fact that at the end of the call, I always do a check back, and I learned that from the Americans. Same way as when I was in America, I was absolutely amazed by the fact that whenever I got food, I would be 3 mouthfuls in, and the waiter would be straight over, "Is everything okay with your food?" Bang. And I was like, "Yeah." And he went, "No, it's fine. Just checking." Like, I'm not used to that. I'm English. We don't have that. But a lot of my clients are American. So at the end of a chat, when there's 1 minute left, I very quickly go, "Was I able to help you today?" And 9 times out of 10, I find they say, "Actually, yeah, I was really, really moody when I came to you this morning, really full of anxiety and really upset. And you've managed to calm me. And I think I'm going to have a really good day." That to me is worth more than £1 million in the bank. And I don't care if that client comes to me with 4 minutes or 40 minutes. I don't care if they call me, text me, or video me. It's not about that. For me, it's the feeling of being able to help another person, because I live to serve and help others. And that has done me well. I've been living that life for 3 years, and I've noticed that it's affected my relationships in a positive way with people, with animals and things. It's affected my health in a positive way. And my basic outlook itself is that I don't know what's coming today. I don't know. And I can't wait. Every day for me is a beautiful, beautiful adventure, and I look forward to it. I'm one of them annoying people that goes to bed looking forward to getting up the next day to see what's coming. Annoying, I suppose. I've been told by someone a couple of months ago, I sat down having coffee. They were in the right mood and turned around to me and they said, "Oh, you're so annoying. Why are you always so bloody positive?" I wet myself laughing. Sorry. But I would rather annoy someone with positivity than upset them with negativity. That's just me, I suppose. I wasn't always that way. I wasn't always that way. I spent 38 years being the most negative person in the world, the most self-assured, most uppity, most arrogant, most angry, drinking myself happy, drinking myself sad, abusing people, things, situation, taking hostages, relationships, everything. But since my spiritual awakening, which happened to me one morning in July 2021, a couple of days after my birthday, I woke up with a jolt. Something said, "Stop this now. Do it better. You deserve it." What? I don't know where that came from. Bang. Since that moment forth, I didn't suddenly magically wake up to a world of roses and gold and unicorns flying around. I wish. But I noticed every day since then, I've been bettering and bettering and bettering myself, and bettering and bettering and bettering those around me. And that gives me the opportunity to do good and be happy. And I live a life that's free. I'd like to say I'm very free. I'm very lucky to be free. I live in a place where I can be free. Not everyone has that, but yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yes, I liked your point that you made that it's better to annoy people with positivity than, like, I think, burden them with negativity. I'm not sure.
Burden is a better word.
I liked that, and I think that is a great summary to kind of the reasons why we're even doing this, visualization and affirmation. And so I think that brings us to a nice area for our next topic, is what steps can individuals take to step into their personal power and authenticity? And that ties in a little bit with that freedom that you mentioned as well.
Self-belief is everything. You out there were not born on this earth to be miserable. You might be miserable. I validate that. I validate your misery, because you might not be happy. You might not like your job. You might not like your relationship. You might not like your weight. You might not like your way you look. You might not like a lot of people out there. Maybe you don't like the gender you're in. Maybe you want to be a different gender. And I'm sorry, this may be controversial. I quite like the fact that in 2024, it's accepted. If you want to change yourself, you can legally. And if anyone says anything against you, it's illegal. Thank you. I love that we live in freedom. I love the fact that I have clients from the LGBTQ community who are able to marry someone they love, because when I was a kid, that was illegal. So good. Moving on that. But we're not just going to focus on those things. We'll also focus on your basic day. You're not born to be miserable. There's no one out there wanting you to feel negative. But the world itself, the human world, is a lot of negativity in it. But I'll point something out. If today you went off for 1 hour to a place of nature, maybe the woods, the forest, the beach, a place where there wasn't buildings and people and places and things, for 1 hour, you'd probably find during that hour, especially if you turned your phone off, that nothing would bother you. Which goes to show and highlight, I hope, that all these problems and that voice on your shoulder and all this negativity and fear and pain and hope is all human based. If you get away from humanity and get to nature, because we are part of nature, where you're supposed to be, just for a bit, you'll find it'll all just go away. And a good walk, and my granddad used to say this, a good walk always clears the mind. And I think those are the steps that we can take, steps outside and away. And also, Stop and Smell the Roses is one of my favorite country songs. And it's a great song. Stop and smell the roses. Stop and smell the coffee. Stop a sec. Stop thinking 10 minutes down the road. Oh, what's work going to be like? Oh, am I going to get that raise? Oh, am I going to get that new suit? Am I going to get this? Am I going to get this? Am I going to get 50 likes on my Instagram post? Oh my God, am I going to get a boob job? Blah, 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 blah. Stop. Take a moment. Take 5. Get a pen. Get a paper. Gratitude list. What are you grateful for? And why are you grateful for it? Example, I'll use my own personal experience. I am grateful for where I live. Why am I grateful for it? Because after this call, I'm going to go around the corner and I'm going to have a really nice Spanish coffee and a glass of orange juice. And it's only going to cost me €4, which is $3.87. Beat that. Then I'm going to go for a walk past the beach, which is 2 minutes from my house. And I am not a millionaire, but I have a millionaire lifestyle because I live in a tropical island. I'm going to work. I'm going to have some great clients. I'm going to have some good chats. I'm going to have a good laugh. I'm grateful, and I'm grateful for that because for years I did jobs where I didn't enjoy very much, but I got paid well, so I did it anyway. I'm very grateful for the fact that I have some good friends that I'm going to have some phone calls with later, and we're going to have a good laugh, and we're going to have some chats, and they're going through some stuff, and I'm going to use what I do at work on my friends, and I'm going to turn their negativity into positivity, and I'm going to help them to shine and rise, and I'm going to remind them of their value. and I'm going to do what I call a highlighting of value, which is another thing you guys can do out there. Highlighting value is understanding your own value. You can understand your own value without being arrogant. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am kind, I am cool, I'm good, I'm easy to talk to, I'm fun, I'm open-minded, I'm adventurous, I'm great, I'm a good son, I'm a good brother, I'm a good lover, I'm a good sister, I'm a good animal owner, I'm a great dad, I'm an amazing teacher, I'm a fantastic boss. If you can say that, you're doing good. You stop for a moment and look around at all the things that you've got, and you'll notice the positives will always outweigh the negatives. And I've noticed also in my life that if you focus on the positives, the negatives just seem to fall away by the wayside. And it's as simple for me as that. Hard to grasp, but easy to follow through.
Yes, those are very excellent tips. Thank you for sharing those. Now, how does setting and maintaining healthy boundaries contribute to a sense of personal empowerment?
Boundaries. There are people out there who, if you give them your finger, they will take your whole hand. If you give them a bite of your cake, they'll take your cake. Don't literally do that. Don't do it with me, because if you give me a bite of your cake, I'm eating your cake. I love cake. You could tell. But that's unfortunately a human condition. And that is that if you are good-natured, which most people I find generally are, there are people out there that unfortunately are a bit bad-natured. They don't mean it. It's just the way they're programmed. They'll take advantage of you. Establishing boundaries is super important, especially if you're a positive, decent person. And how to establish those boundaries is this. Hypothetically, I would say about 60 to 70% of my calls are relationship based at the moment because of the eclipse energy, because everyone's going crazy and blah, 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 right? I always say this. If somebody's in, let's say, a relationship where one of the people in the relationship is being very, very negative about themselves and about them, I say, get out the home. Don't do this at home. Don't be seduced. Because a lot of people try and, rather than have an intelligent, proper adult conversation, they will seduce and take it to the bedroom rather than having the conversation, and they're using their sex as a weapon. Don't do that. Go to, what do you call it in America, the diner, coffee bar, whatever. Both hands on the table, and you explain it like this. This is how you establish a very clear boundary, and this works on the worst narcissist to the most paranoid, terrified person in the world. It works on everyone, and I actually learned this in sales. When you did this to me, you made me feel like this. If I made you feel like this, what would you do? And then silence. Nothing more, nothing less. Both hands on the table, direct eye contact. This is called one of the most finest ways to establish boundary, because you're not establishing the boundary yourself. The person who you're trying to deal with the situation with, they will then establish the boundary for you, because they will say, well, okay, if I felt unappreciated, I wouldn't be very happy and I'd probably leave you. So you then turn around and you say, I didn't leave you, did I? No, you didn't. Click. You do that 3 times in a conversation, you can fix most, I'd say 90% of relationships. And that's the advice I give to most of my clients. Boundaries with, there are people that can overstep those boundaries. And I find it's normally bosses and family. Family's great. Love family. Brilliant. Come from a huge family. Got 66 cousins, right? But one thing family do is they take the mickey, as we say in England, which means take advantage. Family play the family card too much. They play the family card. Oh, but we're family, so you've got to lend me this money. Oh, but we're family, so you've got to get me this job. Oh, but we're family, because no. There's an old saying, blood is thicker than water. It's often misquoted. It's actually, and I'm going to Google it, the blood of the covenant. Where is it? Blood of the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water in the river, right? And it basically means that actually you can be family with your friends. I have best friends that are closer to me than some family. I will break my back to help a friend out. That's my boundary. But also, my friends know my boundaries. And the other people that love to break boundaries are bosses. Bosses, I find often, and I'm not going to set this as a generalization, are often people that in their life were probably bullied a little bit. So what they've got then is they are the manager. So they have the manager position. So they want to take out their anger on the world because of their miscalculations and misfortunes when they were younger by abusing their position and justifying it and taking it out on you, the employee. Now, this is not something that happens ever at Mystic Sense, may I add. We're not hurrying. So with bosses, I find the greatest trick you can do with a boss that's doing your head in is this. Yes, sir, or madam. No, sir, or madam. 3 bags full, sir, or madam, because it is better to rise above and play the game than to fight and feed the negativity. If you fight back on them, you're giving them what they want. They want to upset you. They want to ruin your day. Don't play. Yes, sir. Just say, okay, yeah, all right. You know what? You called in sick last week. I don't think you were really sick. Okay, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. Here's my doctor's note that says I was, but you know what? I'll try and be sick less in future. Bosses try to break boundaries. They hate them, but don't let them know it exists. You know you know in your mind when you go to that employer that you know how to do your job and they're just out to get you. So rise above it. The other example I can always find is one of the worst offenders of all for breaking boundaries and trying to overstep them is when we make new friendships with people we don't know very well. Sometimes they try to borrow money, or they try to borrow things off us, or they try and use us. Oh, I've got nowhere to stay. Can I stay in your house? And that one there is always a good one. The best way to avoid snakes is not to step into the grassy field. And sorry, I'm a gypsy. I always use metaphors that make no sense. Don't go there. If somebody you don't know very well starts asking things of you that you don't think that you know them well enough to give, just say no. Because my friend out there, whoever you may be, you owe the world out there very little. Your creation, yes, it's a blessing. It's gratitude. But you don't have to do anything for anybody that you don't want to do. And if you can establish those boundaries with yourself, keep yourself going, and keep staying positive, and not to listen to that voice on the ear we were just talking about, you will find that every day in every way it gets a little bit easier and a little bit stronger. And I'm not saying it's all going to be wonderful and amazing, because life's tough out there. Things get in the way, people, places, things, but you react differently. As I said earlier, you can write your own future.
Yeah, those are very good tips. Lots of great advice here, especially your sales tips.
Sales, yes. Unfortunately, I did work in sales, but I must say, so it toughens you up. Certainly does. Certainly does. I couldn't do it again. I couldn't do it anymore. Never again. No more. Sales targets. I just no.
Okay, so let's move on from sales. Let's go to our final point in our conversation tonight is more about boundaries. We're going to dig a little deeper into them. Why is it important to set healthy boundaries in relationships and life for empowerment?
Relationships, life, and empowerment. Because if you don't set those boundaries, people are going to walk all over you, and you're going to sit there with nothing. And a lot of you out there have probably been in 3 or 4, maybe just 2 disastrous relationships where somebody took advantage of your good nature, and they didn't mean to do it. They just don't love themselves very much. So they took it out on you. Do you want to stop the pattern now, today? Stop it today. Have a boundary from the minute you go into a relationship. You might feel out there that love is really, really important. It is, for your fellow person, for the world, for nature, for the universe, for animals, for children, for everyone. But relationships are actually a luxury. They are. They might feel, when you fall in love with someone, you like someone, you like the look of someone, you might feel like they're the most important thing in the world because you're feeling them in your heart, and you're feeling them in your throat chakra, and you're thinking them in your head, and you're going over in your head all night. How do I get this person? Oh my God, I love them so much. I just want to rip their clothes off and take it to bed. Right? But it is a luxury. You can actually survive this on your own, right? I did 2 years of abstinence, alcohol, drugs, and sex. Nothing. 2 years. And I was an addict. I went without because I had to learn to love. Because there's one, and this is very important with regards to boundaries as well. There's one relationship that you have to get right. The most important of all, it's not the relationship with your parents, your boss, your lovers, your teachers, your children, your animals, your work, your life, money, health. There's one person you have to love, and there's one person you have to be their best friend. And it's okay to do this. You have to be your own best friend. Because if you can't love yourself and accept yourself for exactly the way you are with respect, how the freaking hell do you expect anyone else to love you properly? The biggest boundary you can learn is to accept and love him, her, or whatever you identify as. Because if you can love them and be there for them, everyone out there will just fall in line. And that is a promise. And that's from my own personal experience. I never loved myself. I never was a friend to myself. I was self-destructive. I was completely isolating. I was a complete mess. I thought I was born with a hole here, like a black hole. And I tried to fill it with food, with love, with sex, with relationships, with people pleasing, with alcohol, with drugs, with work, with success, with shiny things and big cars and trips to the Caribbean and blah 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 blah. And guess what? It's a black hole. Black holes never stop taking. It sucks it up like a hose pipe backwards. I was told to do this, a love for me in there, and I'm no saint and I'm not perfect, but I'm very happy with where I am so far. The minute I loved him and learn to accept him for the way he is, I noticed that others learned to love me a lot easier, and I found it a lot easier to love others. I think I'm at point.
That is a very good point. Yeah, that love is an inside job that radiates outwards. I feel like
and that's the biggest boundary. That's the first boundary to get over, because a lot of people are conditioned not to love themselves. You turn on face, and I keep going on about social media, but I love social media. I use it. I'm on every social media platform, but I also think it's very dangerous. This will tell you, the minute you log into Instagram and you see some half-naked girl sitting there saying, buy my OnlyFans, how do you think 17, 18-year-old, 16-year-old girls are feeling when they see that? How are they feeling? It's making them feel insecure, making them feel like they're not good enough, that they have to sell themselves online to feel better. And I'm not insulting people that are OnlyFans. I have clients that are on OnlyFans, and that's fine. That's your own life. You do what you like. But this thing here will make you insecure as hell. You read the news, it will get you scared. If you read certain Facebook, it's just complete garbage nonsense people just put on there that they believe. And they're welcome to their beliefs. But just because you have a belief doesn't mean it's the same as everyone else's. You know, the world can be a bit scary, but it can be hell or it can be heaven. You can choose. I choose to live in heaven. I'm trying to create heaven on earth because I'm not guaranteed a place when I go.
Yes, very good points. So what are some signs that indicate the need for stronger energetic boundaries?
Wonderful question. Thank you. Right. Someone taking advantage of your good nature. Someone not communicating with you properly. And here's the thing that drives me nuts the most in the whole wide world. The blue ticks on WhatsApp. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
You don't use WhatsApp? You don't use WhatsApp?
I do use WhatsApp, but I only read the messages from the friends that I know in my contact list. I don't read messages from anyone else.
When you message someone on WhatsApp, WhatsApp does a very clever thing where it puts 2 blue ticks when they've read your message. That ruined more relationships than anything in the world, because you send someone a message, they've read your message and they've not responded. Ouch, that hurts. Now, people don't understand the power of their ignorance. And they probably just read the message and thought, that's a nice message, I'll message back later. And they go off and blah, blah, blah. Well, you're sat there going, where's my message back? I'm being silly. Lack of communication. Big one. Not expressing themselves properly and emotionally. If you're providing an open platform for people to actually express their emotions and their feelings towards you, and you feel that they're not doing that and they're not being their authentic self with you, you need to break that. How do you do that? You be an ocean of peace, calm, and tranquility. You provide an open platform. You share some honesty. You show a few secrets. Then they hopefully will do the same back for you. Signs that it's not going right. Unavoidance of eye contact is always the first sign that somebody's not respecting a boundary. Because if we respect somebody, we look them in the eyes when we talk to them. Another one is body language. Always look at somebody's body language, because people's bodies tell more than their faces and their eyes ever could. If somebody's body language is relaxed and kind and gentle and floppy, then they're being honest. If somebody's body language is like that, and they're deliberately trying to keep the back straight, and they're looking to the left a lot. Remember, the left side of the brain is lies, the right side of the brain is honesty. Little science tip for you. They're not respecting your boundaries. If you, hypothetical, you're in a boyfriend-girlfriend situation, and you're a girl, and your boyfriend is talking to other women, and you have a problem with that, and you believe you have a right to have a problem with that. I'm sorry, but you need to address that. And you need to say, if you want to talk to loads of different girls, now shit, if it's his sisters and his cousins, and he has genuinely got good female friends, and they send him a birthday present and a Christmas present, and they come over to your house and meet you and spend time with you together, that means they're a real friend. That's what a friend is. If you ever hear the words, she's just a friend, and you don't believe it, I'm sorry to say it's not true. You point it out, you say, if you want to go off and you want to message other women and talk to them, then have a nice time being single and doing it. Very simple. Because if someone's in a relationship and they're fully in love, they will not be seeking attention from potential partners outside of that. Another sign that somebody's not respecting the boundaries, can't talk. Family do it all the time. If you're getting asked favors and you're saying you can't do it and they're bullying you into it and using emotional blackmail, they're not respecting your boundaries. If your boss at work is questioning you on things that you know, and you know you're doing your job correctly and the best that you can, your boss is not respecting your boundaries. I could go on and on and on and on and on, but hopefully if we're listening to this, we've learned ways from the things we've just talked about that we can handle these situations. Everything's handleable.
That's very well put. Thank you for those examples. I feel like they cover a lot of different areas that people struggle with this in life. So our final question is, could you offer guidance on practical steps for setting and maintaining healthy boundaries?
Practical steps. Write a list on pen and paper of how you expect people to behave to you. Then write a list on the other side of how you behave to others. And if those two lists aren't the same, all of the ones that are different, change them. And that goes back to receive the love that you put out in the world, love yourself, and others will love you. That's the most practical thing to do. Plus, highlight when we love somebody, and love is a big thing with what we do for a living. Phoenix, you will agree with me. We deal with a lot of love out there. There's lots of it. And it's nice to know that there's so much love, but there's a lot of bad love. Oh, what is it Gaga said? Bad romance. If a practical thing is, if you feel someone is using your love against you like a weapon to get you to do things, to lend money, to do favors, to babysit children, to do, and you don't think that's fair, don't allow that person to gaslight you into thinking that you're in the wrong. You're not. Once again, you're just establishing a boundary. Boundaries are what keep us from getting taken to the cleaners, taken advantage of, as we say, where I come from. And I feel the most practical step starts at step one, and that's before you step outside your front door. Keep it all right and fair. Fairness, equality, and decency, inside and outside. And don't expect anyone, and it goes backwards now, don't expect anyone else to do something for you that you would not do for them. And if you're in a superior position, like I do, I train young and new psychics. It's a facet I've added to my business. I would not ask any of my psychics to do something that I have not done myself. And it's the same way as when I was working in restaurants and I was a manager many moons ago, more moons than I'd care to confess. I did, before I became management for 3 weeks, I did every single job in the building. I washed the dishes, I cleaned the floor, I did the cleaning, I cleaned the toilets with brushes, not with bare hands. I'd like to say that. I did the bar, I did the waitering, I did the food serving, I worked in the kitchen, I worked as the chef, I ran the oven, I even did the bins. And I'm once again, I'm no saint, but this worked for me. And then when I got my tie and my name badge and my manager's role and my salary, I had the right to ask people to do things, because not one of them people in that restaurant was not doing a job that I could not do myself. The only job that they could do that I couldn't was clean the ladies' toilets. And that's because where I come from, men don't clean the ladies' toilets. Ladies clean the ladies, men's clean the men's, and that's it.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I feel like that wraps it up really well. I like the practical lists was the particular thing that I got out of that. So thank you for your time tonight.
My pleasure.
Yes, Richard, thank you for being here. If you would like to get a reading with Richard or talk more about these topics we've discussed today or other spiritual topics, feel free to check out his profile, which is linked in the description of this video. He is known as Spiritual Magus Tenerife. Am I pronouncing that
Tenerife.
correct?
Perfect. You're the only person that ever said Tenerife properly. Americans always go Tenerife. You should come here. You'd love it.
I should go there. I think I would like it. Thank you so much. Do you have anything to say before we wrap up our session today?
Thank you, because it's empowered me to do this, if that makes sense. Because if there's just one person out there that takes something from this and it makes their life just a little bit better, then this hour and 15 minutes or whatever it's been, has been worth every moment. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much. That is a lovely thing. Again, with that gratitude energy, sending it out. Yes, I really appreciate it. So I hope you all enjoyed meeting Spiritual Magus Tenerife. And I hope to see you on Mystic Sense. Have a good night.
You too, bro. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.